Right, guys, let's dive into it this evening. So, turn this fun music down and close out with a song at the end. But rightio, let's get this out the way so I can see what's going on. Guys, massive thanks for showing up this evening, coming to hang out with us. Really excited. A lot of us, like I said, are doing this almost every night of the week, jumping on a Zoom and trading together. And yeah, so you're either here because someone shared a link with you to come and hang out and learn a little about investing and trading, or you saw my post on Facebook. And so, yeah, just really excited to share part of my heart this evening with you guys, and also bring in a couple of friends who have been in the space a lot longer than me. But yeah, guys, to give you the real quick nutshell version of how I ended up here. So always been highly entrepreneurial and wanted to do something a little bit more in the last few years. But yeah, 10 years ago, basically my wife and I, we got married, moved over to California. And this is after being an electrician for a few years and running my own, self-employed. So running my own business, but really I was just self-employed, and which came with some freedom but a whole lot of paperwork. And then from there, yeah, we went and spent 3 years at a school in California, just working on a lot of personal development stuff, having a whole lot of fun. And came back to New Zealand 2015, jumped on staff at my parents' church, and been working there as a pastor and a life coach for the last 7 years. And then really wanted to start something else and do something else, and always been wired towards, doing more for coaching and helping people in that space, and encouraging people to either through fitness or mindset stuff, or relational stuff in a church context, being able to work closely with people through, oh man, debt, depression, divorce, addiction, all of that not so fun stuff. But I come really alive with helping people figure out who they are, what they're alive for, and what they want to pursue in life. And so, yeah, so I was really ready for something more. And I had someone encourage me with a real clear word that it was really time to keep my eyes open, look out for something that they believe was going to be entrepreneurial, something with finance, something with risk, and something with goals. And so at that point, that was the 2nd of November, 2020. I'll never forget. And then kept my eyes open. And a few months later, I looked at a few different opportunities, and a friend in Canada, who I'd known for about 20 something years, John O'Lowe, who's part of our church here in Auckland, he moved over to Canada, and he was a part of this platform for about a year before sharing it with me, just, to learn all about investing, about crypto and how to trade. And so then I dived into it in June last year. So my wife and I prayed a whole bunch and felt like this was a good move for us to just, start learning, really get educated. And yeah, part of that journey is, man, it's been incredible. It's just been learning for ourselves, applying the information, and then from there, developing community around it, some good accountability, and just gathering like-minded people together. Because some of you may have heard this quote, but we're generally the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, and or listen to the most. And at the same time, that might even be true of our bank balances. It's quite hard. It's quite unusual to see people, radically outperform their most immediate community. And so that's a lot of what's been happening with me in the last year. But yeah, part of that journey, guys, some of you may have heard of guys like Robert Kyosaki. I quoted him on the little video I made on Facebook, and he's got a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And in there, just talks a whole lot about the different ways that, we are groomed, if you like, in community in society to grow and pursue education and a job and a career. And yeah, part of that, guys, there's another book called Cashflow Quadrant that he wrote, which is really profound, where he just talks about, the different ways we earn our money. And actually wouldn't mind doing a little screen share quickly and showing you what I'm talking about, because it's yeah, really powerful stuff. Okay, I'm gonna go with, you can see, got the chat there. So yeah, guys, so over here, this is where I've been plugged into learning this Iron Mastery Academy. And so inside of this, just this slide alone right here, talking about, this is what Robert Kyosaki talks about. This is straight out of his book. So you've got, inside of the population, 95% of us make up 5% of the wealth, and we're split into 60% as employees or 35% self-employed. Self-employed, that's basically what I was pursuing as a Sparky, thinking I was going to gain more freedom and etc. There was aspects of freedom, but a whole lot more work. And anyone who's been self-employed will tell you that it's really possible to grow in that space, but really most of the self-employed people I know work crazy amounts of hours. And so that's the left side of the quadrant. Excuse me, the right side of the quadrant has got 5% of the population in it, and they make up 95% of the wealth. And they made up 4% of entrepreneurs who develop big businesses, 500 employees plus, and 1% are investors. And they basically just earn a living off the money that they have and how they've put it in the right places. And so this entire academy for me has been learning how to move from one side of the quadrant to the other, start to develop that investor mindset, and from that place begin to grow the money that I do have and learn how to leverage my money and my time that way. And so from there, guys, really, it's just introducing you to the largest financial markets in the world. And so just reading off the slide, statistics show less than 1% of the population participate in the financial markets. And it's because they don't know how, or they don't know how they can. And so that's basically where this academy comes in, where I've been learning from. You've got these 3 pillars, which I want to show you tonight, but mainly the last one. I want to show you exactly how I'm trading and how I'm doing this. So pillar number 1 on the left there, you can see is the academies themselves. There's a whole lot of pre-recorded videos in there where you can learn the foundations of trading, either in Forex or in DCX, which is digital currencies like crypto and Bitcoin and all of that. And then on the other side of that, we've got GoLIVE, which is where we have over 200 live educators in each of their lanes that you can plug into. And then strategies like all our apps and scanners. I'm going to show you that tonight and show you exactly how we are trading at night together and building and compounding our money. And so, yeah, we'll dive into that pretty soon. I'll unshare my screen and come back to me over there. There we are. Let's get rid of that presentation. Just want to show you a little bit of that, just to get you thinking, guys, because the first time I saw that, it really blew my mind a bit, because I never thought about the different ways we all earn money. Like I was aware of property and the goal of owning a property or more than one, and being able to eventually pay them both off and live off the rent from the one and retire, which is still a brilliant dream. And I'm participating in that dream, but it's for a lot of us, that's not as achievable in the amount of time we would like it to happen. And so property's still brilliant, but yeah, for now, I've found what I believe is another way that we can accelerate our freedom and our journey in that space. And so, yeah, with that, guys, it's, part of me plugging into the space has been, increasing the level of my financial community, if you like, and just rubbing shoulders with people who are also like-minded, pursuing financial freedom, and also been doing this a whole lot longer. So I'm 1 year in and already experiencing some great results. But I really want to introduce you to someone this evening who's been doing this for 20 years. And, he's been trading for 20 years. He's been educating. He's been managing funds, working in banks. So real incredible individual. So I want to introduce you to Michael Jacobsen this evening. Some of you may know him already, but if you're hearing him from the first time, guys, get ready for an amazing, amazing experience. So Michael's been trading and also part of our team, mentoring some of us inside the academy. And so Michael, if you're here, can you please unmute yourself and turn on your camera so I can, pin you to the main screen. There we go.
Hey, Ty.
Brilliant.
Hey, guys.
All right, well, guys, drop some love in the chat for Michael. You guys who know him, this man is amazing, incredible man, the highest character, and just loves to help other people succeed in this space. So, Mike, I'd love you to share, just whatever's in your heart right now of, what this has been like for you and what's possible, and where we can how we can learn, how we can accelerate our lives in this space. And yeah, man, it's just an honor to have you here. And thanks so much for your time this evening.
No worries. Thanks, Ty, for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, guys. It's great to share with you tonight. Look, I remember sitting in university 20 years ago, listening to my lecturer talk about economics. And out of the blue, we were talking about how the financial markets work. And out of the blue, he said, one of my friends trades 5 nights a week. He normally makes about $3,000 a night. And when I heard those words, I was like, what? How can you make $3,000 a night trading in the financial markets? And I didn't know much about trading at all. And I knew a little bit about investing because my father was an investor, and he would talk around the table of different deals, new stocks, new shares that had come up. But I never had any idea that trading was so profitable. And what I discovered I ended up being self-taught. So I had no mentor, had no strategy, no plan. My first 2 weeks, I lost $10,000. I went on to losing $70,000. Just not knowing what I was doing. But after time, I realized that if you understood how the game worked, you could actually make those sorts of gains. And the difference with trading as opposed to investing, so like Ty said, there's 2 different types of people in that 1%. You're a trader or you're an investor. An investor will typically buy something that has a low value, but intrinsically the value of that can be extremely high with time. However, with a trader, what you can do is you can actually use the power of leverage to trade other people's money as your own. That's the power of trading. Now, again, if you want to buy a house at the moment in New Zealand, the average price is $1 million. Now, if you want to buy a house, typically you will take leverage from the bank. You'll borrow money to buy the house. And that's exactly what we do with trading. Now, what you can do, if you have $1,000, if you want to buy a certain currency and the currency goes up 2 cents, you might make $20. However, if you actually borrow money from a broker, which is how everyone trades the markets, the broker will actually lend you 100, even 200 times your money, and you can actually trade with that. So instead of just trading at a value of 1 to 1, you can trade at a value of 100 to 1. So when I discovered that and learned the rules around trading, it totally transformed my dreams about how I was going to steward my money for the rest of my life, because now I didn't need to be employed by anyone. I could be my own boss. I could work whatever hours I liked, because the trading market's open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week for Forex, 7 days a week for crypto. I can select my hours. I could select how much money I wanted to trade. I could select how much money I wanted to earn, and I could control my time and be my boss. So again, you have a difference with investing. If you want to buy a stock, you will pay, let's say the stock's valued at $100 and you have $100, you can only buy one of those stocks. However, if you use leverage, you can buy 100 of those stocks instead of just one. And it gives you the opportunity to get incredible gains. And the most powerful tool, in fact, I used to be a builder before. After I worked in the banks, I worked in Westpac, I worked in ANZ, I was managing funds, and then I did a lot of construction work. What I discovered as a builder was learning to think outside the square. And I discovered that when you build things, the most powerful tool you have as a builder is leverage. You use your hammer for leverage. You use your chisel for leverage. You use pieces of 4x2 for leverage. You can move anything on a building site with leverage. You can lift up the house with leverage. That's the power of leverage. And often leverage hinges on a small thing, but it's the most powerful thing we have. Now, what Robert Kyosaki talks about is, if you want to grow or move anything in your life, there's a whole lot of things that you can leverage in order to grow in something. You can leverage other people's time. You can leverage the power of technology. You can leverage other people. You can leverage other people's talents, and you can leverage other people's money. And so what trading allows is you get to access the biggest financial market in the world. With Forex, it has $7 trillion a day. Every day in the Forex market is bigger than all of the stock markets in the world combined. You get to access that market, but you don't only have to use your own money. Even if you only have $100, you can borrow the broker's money. And the only thing you have to pay is the slight spread or a tiny commission for that trade. So it's an incredible opportunity. And when I started to learn how to do that, it totally transformed everything in my life. The most powerful thing that you have in your life is leverage. But the question is, are you using it? When you learn how to leverage other people's time, other people's money, other people's networks, et cetera, that's when you move from the wrong side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. But unless you can get your money working for you and other people's money working for you, which is what leverage is, you will still have no leverage as an employee or as someone with a small business. I mean, I have a lot of friends who own their own cafes or small businesses, and like Ty said, they run off their feet. And then they have to come home and look after their family, and then it's almost impossible to have other pursuits outside of that, especially with the cost of goods at the moment and inflation and the supply chain issues. It's an absolute nightmare. So you have no leverage in your life. The only people who have leverage are the people who have large businesses and investors and traders. And the leverage that they have, the true wealth, is their time. The reason they have that true wealth is because they've learned to leverage the power of other people's money. And so that's what we do with trading. It gives you access to growing your wealth in a way that you could not do with your own money. And if you go on a bit further, what we do in trading is we learn to compound our trades. We learn to compound our wealth as we trade and get results. And maybe, Ty, if you can bring up a compound calculator and actually show you what compounding does. Now, over time, when you make certain gains in your account, when you trade based on a certain percentage of your account every trade, your trading account grows exponentially. And Albert Einstein actually says that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world because it leverages the previous amount of interest that's before it. So Ty's going to bring that up now, and he's going to show you how powerful it is. And this is how we actually get far ahead in trading as opposed to anyone who owns a small business. Most small businesses fail within 2 years. It's 90% of them fail in 2 years. Within 10 years, 95% of them fail, and only 5% are slightly breaking even. The other ones might be slightly ahead. But the time and effort that goes into building that business is ridiculous compared to the power of compounding interest when you actually learn to trade effectively by leveraging other people's money. So Ty, if you can bring that calculator up now, just run us through it, and show us what it actually looks like.
I'll share my screen, and thanks so much, man. I love that. That hammer analogy was gold. I actually haven't heard that before, the way you said that. That was really fun. Really, really love that. Yeah, guys, I want to share my screen. So I'm just looking at my other screen next to me. And I've got a calculator here on the screen. So guys, I'll tell you what, I'll drop this calculator link in the chat, and then you guys can even, you can do this for your own time and go and mess around with it, because it's very real. And so this is what we're aiming to do. So say, this is how compound interest works. Say you're starting out trading and you want to start with $500. You can start with anything you want, but just for the sake of this analogy, and you're going after 2% a session. So this is the idea. If we sit down and trade, we've got $500 in our account. We're never going to risk more than 2% on a trade. So on $500, that's 10, if I'm right. $10 would be 2%. So when I place a trade on an account size of 500, I'm risking $10, but with the goal of making at least 10. And so that would be 2%, a 2% growth for the day or that session. The other ways you could look at that is, a lot of us aren't going to trade every single day of the week. Some of us might just trade 2 days a week. And so across a year, it's 2% a day. It's exactly the same as saying 14% a week. And so for me, I might rather do that, because I might only trade, whatever like that. But it gives you the same results. So you can mess around with that and change that to whatever you want it to be. But say daily across a year, not withdrawing anything, so reinvesting all of that. If I say calculate right now, it's going to give me some numbers that might blow you away a little bit. But that is where $500 goes after 365 days of compounding at 2%. And as you can see, that number is pretty crazy, but that's what we're all aiming for. That is the path that we're on. And so right here, you can see how this works exactly. You can go mess around with this calculator for yourself, but basically, if I was to start out here in May, after my first month, I've made $257. And so my new balance has actually gone from 500 to 757. Next month, I've made 614 and it's gone up to 1300. And so I've already more than doubled my account potentially in 2 months. And so, and you can see how this stacks, guys. And it gets to at a point here, like the 8th month mark, where it gets kind of crazy. And this is the thing, you are going to start this journey and you're going to learn and you're going to practice on demo with money that is not yours. It is just a fake account that you get to practice and learn the skill set on, so that you're not messing around and learning with real money. And so that's a transition that we all take whenever we're ready. But for me, I started learning this particular skill set in January and February, and then in March, about 2 months in is when I flicked over to trading a live account. And so, yeah, it all depends. Everyone progresses at a different time. It's time in and time out. So for instance, you can, if you treat it like a hobby, you can get hobby results and move at a hobby pace. But if you're able to put in more hours per week, you're going to learn the skill set, and just like a muscle, you're going to learn how to do this. And so, yeah, go mess around with that link, guys. That's a calculator. That's a compound interest calculator. And so when we say, we're growing our accounts by 2%, 5%, 10%, 20%, that's what it looks like. So if I was to grow my $500 account by 2%, it would be 510. If I was to grow it by 20%, it would be 600. It would be making $100 for that night. So that's compounding. Let me unshare my screen and these sharing settings. There we go. Stop share. Let's get that out the way. So guys, I want to, you heard from Michael, who's been doing this for 20 years. You heard from me. I've been at this. Well, I joined in June last year and focused primarily on crypto and learning about that space. And but then in January, I transitioned to learning more about this, which is more traditional foreign exchange, Forex trading, which we can apply this exact same leverage skill set to crypto. Most of us actually trade an indice, which is the NASDAQ, NAS 100. It's a basket of the top 100 tech stocks in America. And it's just because there's a lot of movement on it. And we love movement. We love volatility because we're able to ride those waves and grab pips, which pips is just a point in percentage. It's it's a term that is used to describe, it's an equal playing field. So if I was to trade and make 30 pips for the night and you were to trade and make 50, you could say, wow, that was an incredible night for you. A pip for me could be worth 10 cents. It could be worth $1 for you. It could be worth 100 for someone else. And so it's just this even playing field where we can talk about how our trading is going without revealing the privacy of our own account size. And so all stuff that you'll learn, but just one of those terms. But guys, I want to introduce you to someone who's been doing this only for a couple of months, not even quite 3 months yet, right? So Joe is part of our team. And Joe's been applying this, learning this. And so I'd love Oh, guys, it's such an honor to have you on with us, Joe. You're an amazing member of our team. You add so much value, and I'm just really excited for guys to hear, part of your journey and what it's been like. Your learning journey, where you've been, how you got into this, and what you're looking forward to. And so I'm gonna, there we go, put you on there, get myself out the way. And if you're unmuted, then guys, drop some love for Joe. It's so good to have you with us this evening, bro. So share whatever's in your heart for us this evening, and then we'll take it from there.
Thanks, Ty. Thanks for having me on. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfectly, man. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So just real quick, I got introduced to the IM Academy a few months ago by a friend of mine who is employed by the same company as me. And we both temporarily lost our jobs because of COVID. He said this would be a great opportunity for me to learn about trading in the world of cryptocurrency, because I had expressed an interest in learning some more. And I'd been thinking that I needed something outside of my regular day job to have another income stream so that I wasn't reliant on an employer. So after checking it out and asking a heap of questions of Ty and a few of the other guys, I jumped in and joined up. But what really swung it for me was the amazing wealth of knowledge and training that is available on the Academy. But also the community that Ty has set up, where we can all chat and trade together. And this means that the newbies like me can learn off the experienced guys and practice on demo accounts, make mistakes, learn from them, write our notes down, and have the confidence to be able to eventually move into trading with real money without losing it all really quickly. So I've been going for about 3 months now. And while I've made some rookie errors on the demo account, I'm now starting to see some really good consistent results that I'm happy with. And I've had a couple of really great sessions trading alongside the other guys. Some of my best sessions have been around 15 to 20% growth. And that makes up for some of the small losses and nights when I don't get to trade. And that means it gives me time with family and friends without the pressure of, I've got to trade tonight. So, there is a lot of potential to make just, more than just the 2% sometimes. And it's always good to set goals when you're doing something like this. So I'm aiming for an average of 2% growth per day minimum. And actually tonight when I got home from work, I put the rubbish out, fired up the computer, and had a look at the charts. And I spotted the divergence signaling a drop in price on the currency pair I like to trade. I set my bids, joined the family's dinner, and just prior to the Zoom call starting, I walked away with about 16% gain in my portfolio, which, although it's demo and it's really small, it's those little wins that give you confidence that you're heading on the right track. So that was probably about an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm done for the night. Can chill out and relax. So some key things I've learned along this short journey so far is don't get greedy and trade emotionally. That really can end up badly. So the old saying, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, always holds true in this game too. So take the profit you have and be happy when you've met your target. And the market is, starting to slow, so signs of slowing down. Stick to the game plan and know when to get out and walk away. And often what I'll literally do is I'll close my browser, close down the app, and shut my laptop down and walk away. So I'm not tempted to come back and try and do any sort of revenge trading. And sometimes you've got to be willing to not place any trades at all when the signs are not there, showing that there's a good place to trade for that evening. But yeah, overall, I'm really, really stoked to be in a community of people seeking financial freedom outside the banking system. And I'm really pumped for the future. Over to you, Ty.
Man, thanks so much, Joe. That was so cool. So great to have you in the team. And man, just your progress is inspiring, bro, because it's so fun to see other guys diving in and within 2 to 3 months just going for it. So let me adjust all our screens here. And yeah, man, thanks so much for sharing, Joe. So I appreciate you, man, and all the life that you add to our team. So yeah, guys, so this evening, we're going to show you exactly what this looks like and how we're doing it. So that we just wanted to each share a little bit to give you some context, because some people with us have been trading for a while and some are absolutely brand new. And so this might be a foreign language. And what I'm about to show you might even look like, multicolored spaghetti on some weird toast. So yeah, I want to screen share and show you, I spoke earlier about the 3 pillars of the academy we learn from. And so I'll really, really quickly show you that and then show you the exact scanner that we're utilizing to trade with. And how you place trades is as simple as an app on your phone, pushing a couple of buttons, or you can get a desktop version. There's all different ways that we can actually physically push the buttons and trade, but it's all part of the trading and personal preference. But I'm going to move this over and do a screen share again and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So there's my screen. Hopefully you guys can all see that. Let me know if you can't, but I believe I'm sharing the right one. But this is just the back office, guys. This is just where you log in. This is where you see a few things. And when you click this button here, IM Center, this takes you to this web page where all of our pre-recorded stuff is. And so this is where under Academies, you're going to find all the pre-recorded stuff. So foreign exchange, there's like 62 videos in there, which give you the foundations for everything I'm going to show you in a minute. And then we've got these other academies as well. Faster version of trading called high frequency binary options. DCX is our cryptocurrency academy right there, which is incredible. And then ECX is our full e-commerce academy, where you can learn everything from how to set up a store on Amazon, Etsy, Shopify, etc. And launching this week, I believe, is a whole new stocks and futures academy. So constantly upgrading and adding stuff to it. GoLIVE is this website here. This is the second pillar, where all our educators are live. You can come in here and click on them and see whoever's live and who you want to track with. And so on the crypto side, there's a whole heap of educators. I won't go down that right now, because that specialize in NFTs and metaverse and gaming and leverage trading and building a portfolio. But on the Forex side here, you can see we've got a lot of educators, and there's a lot of different strategies. You can look at them according to the strategies you want to choose. But James Leone is our educator on the dynamic edge strategy that we follow with. And so he's live 3 times a week inside of his favorite sessions. After you've watched those 62 videos in the Forex Academy, which are all your foundations, they range from 3 to 8 minutes long. There's a few 40-minute ones, but there's about let's say about 4.5 hours worth in the 100 and the 200 series. And then you can go deeper and watch the 300 and 400 series if you like. There's about 12 hours in total. For James's strategy, it doesn't necessarily require it. It's just really cool extra knowledge and stuff. And so then the pathway is come in here, watch his favorites. There's 27-minute boot camp, which explain his strategy on a flyover. And then he's got these other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lessons that are an hour long, which go into divergence and the indicators and just how his strategy works. And that's what I'm going to show you tonight. So don't be alarmed if you don't understand it all. Obviously, it requires a good 10 to 15 hours worth of study to grasp this. But what I'm going to show you is our scanner and how it works. So one of the scanners on the crypto side is the scalper, which is going off at the moment. You can see over there. There's a few rules to entering a trade when these go off, but you can see on my right side there's an alert panel here for buys and sells. They go off on my phone like text messages. And so you can see that sell arrow went off there at 34,000 for Bitcoin, 34,500-ish. And then we tanked and we came as low as 29,000. So Bitcoin dropping 5,000. Not sure what percentage that is, but that feels big. 5 out of 35 is pretty big. And then a buy arrow again. And there's rules, guys, to follow this. But I just want to show you that's the scalper that we have access to. But for us, dynamic edge is the strategy that we're running with. And so on the left of my screen here, you can see harmonics and vibrato, gold cup. These are all different strategies with educators attached to them. They go all the way down. And so the one that we run with is pivots, because dynamic edge is built on top of pivots. And so this is dynamic edge. And if you're new, don't be alarmed if this looks crazy. I'm going to explain it to you in a nutshell and show you exactly how we are winning. So at a glance, what we've got, guys, this is what I'm showing you right here is the NASDAQ. So it's you can come in here and change. You can look at Forex pairs, you can look at gold, you can look at oil, and you can look at indices. You can actually click up in this top corner and actually change this to any cryptocurrency and apply this to some crypto trading. But for us, we're looking at US Tech 100, which is the NAS. And so we've got price on the right here, and you can see where we're at. Price right now is sitting at 1,200. Sorry, what are we looking at? 12. I'm so tired. 12,351. 48. See, we're jumping up and down a bit here. We're zigzagging. But basically what we have at one point, we had yeah, this still needs to refresh from the last signal that went off for this invalidation level and target level is not that critical for us. That's what the algorithm spits out, but we have a bunch of rules, basically 6 specific rules that we follow to look for this. And so I'm going to show you real quick. You can see these little triangles that pop off. I'm going to zoom out for you. That's a 1-minute chart. So basically every single one of these candles, you can see here, 32 seconds, 31 seconds. It's taking a minute to print as price moves. But if I zoom out, guys, to like say a 4-hour, you're going to see something a whole lot smoother and see a bigger trend. And so if I zoom out, you're going to see back here, I mean, I can change the time. So we're actually looking at the right time zone. So we're here in New Zealand. And you can see right now, this 4-hour candle has still got 54 minutes left on it. And it's, yeah, it started at say 7 o'clock. No, sorry, a bit earlier, 5, and it's going to finish at 9, I think. That signal, that sell signal right there went off at 9 a.m. this morning. And so at this point, you'd be aware that as soon as actually these black dots flip over to the other side, that there is an indication for us that price is about to reverse and go the other way. And that's all we're doing, guys. We're picking up reverses in the market. So when price goes one way and expands and goes up, it basically always contracts and comes back down or retraces, corrects. There's a whole lot of different terminology for it, but basically we want to catch a move as it is reversing and turning around so that we can jump into that move. And so over here, that dot flipping would have been, pay attention, guys, something's about to change. And then you can even see, I'll take this off auto and move, on a 4-hour time frame, you know, that dot flip happened, price came down, crossed this black center, we call this black line in the middle, the mid BB, because there's a few terms, but basically it's the middle of the road. And we don't take a sell until price is on the south side of the road, just like we don't take a buy until price is on the north side of the road going up. And so price came down, crossed the middle of the road. Now we're in sell territory. And when this blue line down here, you can see down here, this is called a MACD. It's basically an indicator for momentum and strength in the market. And it's how we look for price momentum to change and tell us what's about to happen. And so when we had the sell signal on the 4-hour, you can see here, this blue line, when this blue line came up and crossed down through 0, which is this line in the middle, price, when it came through here, moved a whole lot down. And then we got the sell signal say, right, guys, price is going down. And we could have followed this. This red line up here, invalidation level, that would be our stop loss. So if we were to be placing a trade, remember we talked about 2%, a short position for us would be selling and buying and selling. We're not physically buying the NASDAQ like Michael was talking about. We're not buying like, you know, one share. We're just placing a position with leverage with our broker account. And so again, if I had $500 in my account and I entered on this candle here, my stop loss is going to be up here. And with our strategy, it's usually at 2 to 1. And so I'm going to drag this down and see where 2 is. 2 is, it's close. So the target that's generated for us automatically is not normally what we go for. But with our strategy, we usually aim for a 2 to 1. And on the 1-minute time frame, I'm just showing you the 4-hour because it's a bit cleaner right now. But basically, price came, so this right here, the distance between where we enter a trade and if price went the other way, if we got it wrong and price came up from this point and hit our stop loss, we want to make sure that the amount that we're risking in that little margin there is that 2%. So 500, what do we say that was? $10. So if price goes that way, we lose $10. But if price goes this way, we make 20. And so that's how this works. I'm going to delete this. This is just an example of the 4-hour. What we actually trade on is the 1-minute, which is a whole lot more movements and it moves a whole lot faster. But we reference these high time frames to see the bigger trend of what's been happening for the last day or so. And so if I start zooming in and I look at a 30-minute or a 15, which I like to look at, and I use this chart, you're going to see, actually, let's go back. I want to show you where that signal went on the 4-hour and I'll put a line on it. And so over there, I can actually go and take, where are we? Vertical line and chuck it over there. And so we'll see this line in a second and I'll change the color so it stands out a bit more for us. Let's make it a bit thicker like that. And let's see what happens. Let's change our time frame. So this just means that each of these candles takes 4 hours to print. So this is a much bigger trend. Zoom into a 15-minute. Let's see where that big line was. So that big line is back here. So earlier today, that's where we got that sell signal. After that price dropped down already, I mean, to be honest, you can see how looking even on a 15-minute, you can see this incredible opportunity here to get in on a sell when you zoom in. And so after that big drop, the higher time frame, remember we crossed the road. You could almost see that big purple line here, almost looks like the middle of the road to us. And so yeah, price keeps coming down, keeps coming down. And so I'm gonna zoom in a bit further. and see what's going on and show you exactly how. So even here, guys, I'm going to show you step one in the process for how we identify price is going to change. So if we zoom in down the bottom here and see what's going on, the first thing we're looking for is divergence. And the guys that are, you might think, what the heck is divergence? So convergence, I'm going to drag this image over. Where are we? Here we go. And hopefully you can see this. So convergence means, you know, things are coming together and going in the same direction. And so price is going up and the momentum and the energy is going up as well. So right here, we're looking at price coming down. And so price is coming down, but what's happening underneath the surface? The MACD is this indicator at the bottom, which shows us momentum. And so if we're looking here, I'm going to show you I'm going to draw a couple lines and show you what divergence looks like. So divergence is when price is going one way and the momentum and energy is going the other. And that means we're approaching a point where price is most likely going to reverse and we can enter a trade and ride it back the other direction. And so let's get a line on here, trend line. So right here, we've got lows. These prices over here, we've got a candle that right there is a low over here. That right there is a high. This is a lower low because this low is lower than that low. And so we're watching price come down. Let me just make this line a bit thicker so you can see what I'm talking about a bit better. So we've got a low, we've got a lower low, a lower low, and a lower low. What's happening at the bottom down here, guys, on the MACD? We've got these different colors are called a histogram. And so when momentum is changing, we're getting a change in color. So when this blue line comes down and crosses above the orange one, price, this histogram starts printing from red to green. And so that's momentum. Selling pressure is winning. We're down here. People are pushing the market down. When it comes up above, when it crosses up, prices, energy is coming up. And so all I'm showing you here is price is coming down with this big red line, which you can see. You can see price is coming down. It's zigzagging its way down, but it's coming down. And on the bottom, you can see here that over here, we've got, I mean, this indicator is telling us these little Ds and these lines are showing us divergence. It's actually built into the indicator. It tells us where divergence is. There's another way that we spot it, which is like this. So we've got lower lows, and I want to pull that image back up so you can see what I was talking about. I want to pull this because I know when I record this, it might not grab the whole screen, and I want to make sure you guys can all see this after the fact. So over here, we've got, let's see this, divergence. LL means lower lows. So we're looking at lower lows. These lows over here are lower than those. And on the bottom, we're looking for higher lows. And if we have lower lows on the top and higher lows on the bottom, we're going to get a move up. And so these lows down here, we've got lower lows happening. But what do we have on the bottom? Do we have higher lows? So I'm on a 15-minute time frame. I'm going to zoom in and show you what it looks like. But basically right here, guys, that there, and you can see the indicator itself is picking up for us. That there is telling us, it's screaming at us actually, that price is approaching a point where it's going to turn. And so the first thing we're going to notice here is that these little black dots went from being on this side of the road to the other. And that there is one of the 6 steps that we look for in the process. So the dot flipped around. We had divergence number 1, and then we see this dot flip. And then from there, we're looking for a few other little things. But really what happens is price goes across the road, we get a signal, and at that point we've got a green light to enter. But I'm going to zoom in a little further. 15 minutes is a high time frame, and that's not what we trade on the strategy. Like I said, we trade the 1 minute. But if I mark up that chart on the higher time frame, you can see how much clearer it is. Like, wow, okay, we got a strong trend down and this trend on the bottom coming up. And sure enough, what happens here? This is now a 5 minute. We can start to see, okay, we've got a signal there. And I can mark that out, but you're going to see how much earlier we can get a signal when we start looking at the 1 minute, which is where we trade. And so 5 minutes, we've got a buy signal there. What happens if we go to the 3 minute? Now we're starting to get a bit of a more zoomed in trend. See there, the 3 minute, remember guys, this pink line was the 5 minute. That's where the sell signal went on the 5 minute chart. But on the 3 minute chart, it went off over there. So I'm going to make a different color line just to show you how early we can get into a trade. And let's make that one the 3 minute, we'll make them green. Now, what happens if we go down to the 1 minute? And this is where it gets a bit more noisy, but we can identify the move earlier. So look at this, guys. Our first reversal, there's a big low. Let's get in here a bit closer. Let's see how early we could have had a heads up to get into this trade with this strategy. So the first buy that we had over here was there. Where we have 5 minute, that went off at, you can see down the bottom here, at 1:15. Over here, 1:06, but over here, 12:31. That's a good 40 minutes earlier. And so if you entered the trade over here Let's have a look at this. There's a lot of different rules for entering the trade. I like this one better. This signal here is really clean, and there's a lot of reasons why. You could enter here and you could ride this and you could exit as soon as that dot flipped. There's a whole lot of rules, but we're looking for the bigger moves. Like, it's more ideal. I mean, obviously, if you enter down here and you held the whole way up, that's a strategy. You can do that. We just have a very clean set of rules for us with a dynamic edge so that we can get in and get out really quickly and minimize, any losses. And so those are opportunities with those signals to buy, and there'd be reasons why not to take that sell. And I can tell you already, just looking at it, you've got higher highs and lower highs. That's a move. That's for a move down. But right here, let's take a little bit of analysis here. So on this, so now we're looking at the 1 minute. So this is how we trade. You're going to look at, you've got some lower lows happening here, and you've got some higher lows happening right here. And so right here, guys, we are looking for a move up, and a decisive one. I mean, that continues a bit. And when this blue line, I want to zoom in a bit more so you can see what I'm seeing, and just make this a bit more exaggerated. And if you're brand new, guys, don't worry if this is looking crazy to you. It's the first time. But when this blue line crosses up above zero, that's what we call a hopper. When you get a hopper in line with a signal, so when this blue line crosses zero and it's in line with a signal like that, that there is not a hopper that we like. That's a hopper that we love. And so if I draw a line on that one vertically, that there is a beautiful signal, and I'm going to show you exactly why that trade is to me looks like at least a 5 out of 6, maybe even a 6 out of 6. And so you can see how far price ran on that one. So right here, guys, in our strategy, we're looking for a few things. There's the dot, it's flipped over. Because that dot is outside those blue lines, that's 1 point. Because we've got divergence already, that's another great point. Because see these blue bands that are expanding, they're contracting over here. That for us means don't do anything. That when there's range is like range of danger. We stay away from range. That's just when price is going nowhere, it's going sideways. When these Bollinger Bands start expanding, we're liking that. So it basically means a whole lot of volumes coming into the market, and price is about to move quite explosively. So we're starting to get little heads up, even over there. You can see right over there on my cursor, price is starting to expand. Price crosses the middle of the road. Let's zoom in a little bit more for this. And I'll wrap this up soon, guys, but I just wanted to give you an example of what we're doing. So we've seen a dot flip. We've got divergence already. Bands are expanding. Price crosses the road. We've got a signal. Price crossed over, and it looks like it retested on one of these lines, which you'll learn about. But basically in this, price came up, the MACD came up and crossed through zero, which for us is a hopper. That right there, if you just take trades on signals that pop off and hoppers, you just stick to those, your win rate's going to go through the roof. And so from here, if I was to look at this trade and put it for a long just means a buy. If we entered on that signal right there when it popped off there, the stop loss for us would be the dot, which is the black dot. There's called a peace dot. If I drag it a little bit lower, remember, guys, we're looking for 2 to 1. We're not greedy here. So 2 to 1 would be down there. That's a 2 to 1 on our strategy. But every now and then you can see we get these moves. And so what happens is we've got no reason to exit there. We've got no red candles happening. We haven't got divergence in our face yet against us. This is where we have divergence. So once we're in a trade, we're now looking for divergence against us to indicate that price is going to go the other way, and it could be a time to lock in some profit or exit the trade. And so again, if I put a line on here to indicate for divergence against us, this is a high, and that's a higher high. And on the bottom, we've got a high over here, and we've got a lower high over there. So price is going up, energy is coming down. You can see price still did go a bit higher, but at this point in time, you see these black dots, we've got a dot flip over there. That'd be a great time to exit even right there if you wanted to, and that's almost a 3 to 1. So right there, you've already just taken your 2% and you've made your, well, that's 2 to 1. So you would have made 4% on that if I'm right. And then, if you took this higher up to the dot flip, where would we be? We would be about, we're exiting somewhere around that, a little lower. I don't want to exaggerate any of this. Probably exiting somewhere there, say 3 point, somewhere on that red candle, dot flip, exit. Say we exit at the bottom of that candle, guys. Still a 3.6 to 1. So that 2% that we risked, that $10 that we risked, we just tripled it. We just made 30 bucks on that trade. You could lift your stop loss, which is, I know this is getting a bit more technical, but our point of entry, risking this amount, if we lift our stop loss into profit, we are now in a risk-free setup, and we can decide to take some of that off the table and close a portion of it, or let it continue to run. And that's what I love to do. So some of the language that we have is we like to scalp our way into a swing trade. Scalping just means in and out, in and out. A swing trade is a much bigger trade. And so you might want to leave, say, like, 10 to 20% of what you've got in your trade on the table, believing it's going to continue to move. And so as you can see, guys, price did that. How far has price gone since that trade right there? I mean, guys, price ran from, we entered down there at 12183, and price went as high as what? I mean, we're still moving, but you can tell that earlier today there was a great move. I mean, price, yeah, you can see, you get in the picture. That's like an 8-to-1 right there. And let's see, if you were to stay in this trade, did we get a 10? Let's see if I zoom out, where's price at? If I put a horizontal line on there and you were starting to do more swing trades, did we get that? Let's go this way and see what happened. Did we get as high as 10-to-1? Yeah, we did. Check that out. Even higher. So that blue line, guys, was 10-to-1, and price is still above that line. So that's why we love hoppers. We love buy signals and we love hoppers. You could have, I would advise sticking to the rules and exiting earlier, maybe leaving a portion on, but you can see how 2% can turn into 20% and just by following the strategy. And so I don't want to get too crazy technical, because I know some of you guys are brand new and this already looks like spaghetti and a whole nother language, but you can see now price again reversing on us here, lower lows, higher lows. Check this out, guys. So some of us might be trading this evening. There's lower lows, there's higher lows. The scanner's already picking up that there. So then right now we had a bit of range, but sure enough, we're waiting for a move up, guys. Right here from 732, and we started this call. Price has been coming down, 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 down. The momentum has been coming up, 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 up. And sure enough, what do we get? We get a signal that went off at 8:07. So what's that, 14 minutes ago, with a hopper. Sorry, I should have been looking at here what was going on. Band's expanding. The dot's not quite outside. So it's not perfect, excuse me, but we got to move. So even right now, while we're talking, guys, the scanner is working and putting in buys. So if you were to enter on that candle, stop loss on the line, we're looking for 2-to-1. Did we get it? 1.8. That's what it's telling us, but 2-to-1. There we go, guys. Well, 2.1. I mean, it's obviously gone above that, but I would, if you're not being greedy, like Joe was saying, we want to make sure we're just, we're going for the strategy, 2-to-1. So there we go. That candle blew past it, but that's where I would be lifting my stop loss to. And right there, guys, while we're talking, I wasn't looking at right now. I was looking at further back. And there you go. Also, you can see divergence against us. We've got higher highs, and hopefully you guys are getting this by now. There's lower highs. That right there is telling us, as soon as that candle down here, this histogram turned from solid green to a little bit of a lighter green, the momentum's changing. What happened on that candle? Obviously, guys, that candle started to come down. That started to change. So hopefully you guys are getting the picture there. That's just our little divergence cheat sheet that you can see. Like I said, they're higher highs, HH. We've got higher highs over here. Oh, lost my picture. And on the bottom, lower highs. So we've got these highs here that are lower than those highs, and they mean we're going to see a move down. And so you can see here, higher highs, lower highs, move down. And it's going to probably come down and test either this, well, it looks like it's already tested that. It's coming down to maybe green. We'll see. We'll have a look. But yeah, guys, just wanted to show you that this evening. I'm going to unshare my screen. And yeah, really want to show you exactly how we're trading. I mean, that's a scanner that we're utilizing for entries and exits. The nuts and bolts of how we trade and what buttons we're pushing on my phone. I can literally have, like, I've got it right in front of me. I can push sell, I can push buy. I determine what my 2% is based on calculating from my account size. And it's a one button push. And on my phone, some people run a desktop app and do it that way. It's freedom of choice, whatever works for you. As you evolve as a trader and grow in experience, you might change up to more complicated, not complicated, more advanced ways that suit you. But the most simple way for us, most of us use our phone, because the Academy through Swipecoin, they send us buy and sell ideas for crypto trades throughout the week. So I won't pull up that in front of me right now, but basically some of the educators will send us some trade ideas to basically buy or sell Bitcoin on leverage or Ethereum or XRP. And we do exactly the same style of trading, but we can place those trades on our phone on the go. So we might be out on the work site or running around doing some shopping, and something goes off. You're like, oh, there's an idea. And you get given a stop loss, an entry zone, a zone, not just a spot. Anywhere inside this price zone you could enter, and then 1, 2, 3 levels to potentially take profit off the table or lock in that trade. And they communicate with us too about, hey guys, price has moved 100, 200 pips into profit, lift your stop loss to make it a risk-free trade. And so yeah, just another opportunity for us to basically earn while we learn, because this can take a couple months to get your head around it. But honestly, like I showed you, 4.5 hours of the 100-200 series to understand the entire foundations of Forex trading basics, and then another 5 hours of James Leone's, favorites videos to understand the dynamic edge in detail. And before you know it, guys, you just start seeing this without having to reference, the 6 steps in the process, which I didn't want to get too into tonight, but I just want to show you divergence and that signal. And now if you just see divergence with a signal and a hopper, you're away flying. So guys, that's what we're up to here. I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. There's man, so cool to see all you guys that have piled in with us. Some names I do recognize, some I don't. So I want to say thanks for hanging out. And if you want to find out a little bit more about this, if you got questions, just like Joe had, when he got started 3 months ago, reach out to whoever invited you to this call this evening. And yeah, if you got some questions, we'd love to have a chat and help you understand it. If this is for you, it might be a good fit. It might not. You might have just seen a whole lot of spaghetti and a whole lot of crazy stuff and thought, whoa, that is not for me. And that's completely fine. We just want to thank you for your time, for coming to hang out. But for most of us guys, we're here because, we want to get out the rat race. We want to stop trading our time for money for the rest of our lives and figure out a way to take the money we do have and learn to compound it and grow that account and figure out a way to basically, learn a skill set. Like, what would it mean to you if you could learn the skill set and actually follow through that plan of just 2% a session or 14% a week? Like, what is that worth to you if you're able to achieve that in, 1 year, 5, even if it takes 5 years and you're able to do this? Like, that's the thing. I mean, for us, a lot of us are moving on to, trading from demo to live accounts within a matter of a few months. Some people take a little longer. There's no rush to do that. It's whatever feels right for you. And so, yeah, I believe it's really possible. And a lot of us are all seeing those results. And so, to wrap us up this evening, I think it'd be pretty cool to bring Michael back. He's the man with the most experience in our team. And it's so fun to have him. The value that he adds consistently, especially in our chat with what he's seeing on the charts, is just invaluable. And so, Michael, where are you, my man? Let's bring you back on for a moment and just give us some closing thoughts. And again, thanks so much, everyone, for being with us this evening. Mike, take it away, bro.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Hey, for a lot of you, what you've seen Ty, show you tonight might seem quite complicated, but really, when you look at any asset you want to buy to invest in, you're interested in determining, are there buyers and are there sellers? And when you look at the chart and the indicators that Ty is using, it's actually indicating if there are more buyers or more sellers. And obviously you want to be investing in something where there's more buyers, or you want to be selling something where there's more sellers. And so when we look at anything we want to buy or invest in, whether it's gold, silver, Bitcoin, the US dollar, anything you like, it's all represented on a chart. And when we look at the charts and see historic patterns, we can understand the psychology behind buyers and sellers. And as you progress as a trader, there's a lot of different strategies you can learn, but all of them are rule-based. And when you learn to follow the rules, you end up earning the gains of that compound interest. And if you look at the standard stock market, the average return on the stock market over the last 200 years is between 8 and 12% a year. That's the average return of a stock market. Now, most people who invest for their retirement fund around the world invest in the stock market. They are only getting 8 to 12% on average per year. When you learn to trade with leverage, you can get that within a week. And that's the power of this education. So I just encourage you, get educated, get empowered, and move from the wrong side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. And that's where you have leverage. That's where you leverage your time, your freedom, and that's where you become part of that 1% in a good sense. That's the only possible way these days where you can actually create wealth and grow your wealth with a small amount of money. It doesn't take a lot, it only takes a little bit. But when you learn these rules, it's transformational. Thanks, Ty. I really appreciate you having me tonight. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining us.
Hey, thanks, man. So appreciate you, Michael. You're an absolute legend. And it is just so fun to be doing this with you in this space, man. Guys, thank you so much for your time this evening. It's been an absolute blast. If you've got any questions, by all means, reach out to him and invite you here. I can see someone is asking, how we get access to this and what the costs are. Yeah, just reach out to whoever brought you here and they can, give you that full breakdown, show you how it works, and even connect you guys with me for a phone call if you like, to ask me some questions if you like. And you can break it all down. There's options. You can have access to parts of it or all of it, and there's different costs in that. But you know what? It's whatever suits you. So yeah, reach out and let's have a chat. And yeah, thanks again for your time this evening. Let's close it out with a song. And some of us are probably going to go and jump on the charts and start trading. But yeah, otherwise, thank you again for your time. And yeah, look forward to chatting more. Otherwise, have some fun on the charts tonight, guys. Go make that 2%, and we'll see you in the team chat. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Bye. Good night.